We had to go up a set of steps with it. I mean to tell you that was bad.
Some of them things weigh a dang ton.
Well, and we didn't have to go any distance really, like Jerry did.
But up the stairs.
But just like 4 sets of steps and across the basement and into the back of the truck. And it was just about all you could stand with. I was young then.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even tempt that now.
Some of them stoves almost makes you wonder how they don't fall through the floor.
I bet you that thing weighs 500 pounds. And then we got to here and then carried it. Me and Jimmy carried it across the basement floor, just one on either side of it, and it's probably 500 pounds.
You remember that thing that Steve had? Seemed like he got it from some of Kim's people. Big old long stereo with the TV in the middle.
Yeah.
That was a heavy sucker.
Yeah.
If Corey had that still out there, she could watch Columbo and Rockford on it.
Right. It'd be in style, really.
Be right in the correct era.
Side the other.
Yeah.
In length. But I believe we can put this up and I don't have to cut none of it. And we'll just let. Or I'm hoping. I don't know how it's going to be as we get on out there, but it don't really matter. As long as it don't get short. And I don't think it will from remembering them rafter measurements. Tried the best we can do to even it up down here and then just let it run wild. Up yonder it's going to be covered by a ridge cap anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So now we can start and put the right edge that I wanted out, which is that one.
I think I got 2 pieces, but on it short.
Trying to get an early start this morning. Finally, the days come when Matt and Paul's going to start putting the tin on the roof of the shed. We've had it for a few days now, but it's just rained every day. A lot of you I know have been having that kind of weather too, with so much rain. I'm not complaining about the rain yet. I might if it keeps up, but because we were so dry last year, so the rain's really been good for our gardens. I know some places though have got too much water for their garden, and the rain has washed stuff away or is causing, rotting issues and that kind of stuff. I guess we can't never have it perfect, can we? We can sometimes though. Sometimes things go exactly right. Anyway, while they're working on this, it's gonna be a hard job for them, but hopefully they can get started good before it gets hot, and then they can just quit and start again tomorrow. I'm gonna go over to the gardens up here in the front where I can kind of be where they're at and just start weeding. There's lots of weeding to do.
What's scary is getting my shoes muddy.
Oh, yeah. Maybe I should have got over there. This end's going up first, right?
Yeah, probably. Just set it down, I can fold it up and prop that end up. I believe be able to reach that from there. That part there's dead. It is like that when it got here. Had so much trouble getting it, I was afraid to say it.
I've said knock $10 off.
One of you lovely folks sent me a redbud tree a couple of years ago now, I guess it's been, and you can see it's just really struggling. Every time I think it's dead and I give up on it, I come back and I see a small sign of growth. We don't have any redbud trees right here in Wilson Holler, so maybe it's just not a good place for it. But it's really a tenacious little tree because every time I give up and think it's dead, a little shoot of new growth comes out. This part of the garden is looking really lush and beautiful. All the rain has helped with that. The rain has also, of course, though, helped the weeds do really good. You can see our beans, though. They look really, really nice. I love looking down the bean rows. I think it's like a magical place. It'll get more magical when there's actually beans. There's a few little tiny ones, but none to harvest yet. In these 2 rows, we planted some greasy beans and some like a white half runner bean. You can see there's a teeny tiny little bean growing and some blooms. When the beans start growing up above the trellis like that, I try to go back, me and Matt do, and kind of weave them down inside like that, hoping they'll grow that way. eventually, if you don't do that, and we don't always catch them, but what will happen is, over here's a good example. You can see this one on this other side, how it's reaching out. And when these begin to reach out, they'll meet in the middle. My dear friend Ken Roper called that. He'd say, Tipper, the beans are holding hands in the aisle at his place. So if they start holding hands in the aisle, like Kenneth would say, then that just turns into like a tunnel through here, and then you have to bend over and crawl through to pick your beans. And we've done that before, and it's not really a lot of fun. Here's one. Sometimes it happens down low too. Here's one down low that's growing like that, trying to reach out across the aisle. So I'll just weave it up in the top. Sometimes when you do that they break, but if you're careful, usually you can do it. Look at that, a little bit more beans. There's two and some little blooms. Here on the ends, I planted some sunflowers. They're getting, I guess, getting tall. They're not hardly waist high yet, but maybe they'll get tall and pretty before summer's end. There's one. Here's a bean reaching out. If you stand close enough to a bean, they will eventually attach to you, like when you're picking beans. I've had that happen. They'll reach out and grab hold of you, as the old people would say. These are our Randy Hooper tomatoes, and you can see they're growing. They're above the trellis too. They're really lush and pretty. Not many tomatoes yet setting on them, but you can see a lot of blooms there. There's some blooms. Here's a tomato. There's one pretty good sized one. That may be one of the first ones we get to eat. Here's the other beans we're growing down here. This is the Mother Stallard bean. And you can see it's kind of doing the same thing up there at the top and reaching out. I don't know, I guess they've got a little bit further to reach. They'd be reaching the tomatoes. So I've seen some blooms on them. Here's some right here. But I don't think I've seen any little beans. I bet there's some here already though. I just hadn't laid my eyes on them. There's our grapevines. Got a lot of grapes on them. This one down here is kind of went crazy, but there's two actually there together, so that's why it looks so much fuller than that one at the top. I think that one at the top's got more grapes on it that I see. Well, I don't know though. I see some back in there. This is one of our blueberry bushes. This seems like it's a good year for blueberries, so lots of blueberries on it, but none ripe yet. And just behind the beans, there's a volunteer tomato. I see two volunteer tomatoes growing up. But I planted some calendula. Lots of weeds, of course. There's some calendula growing and some weeds that need to be. That's what I'm going to work on today. But then I planted some, right here, some bush cucumbers. So we'll see. I don't know if you can see that, but when I shake those, there's all kinds of little flying bugs coming out, little gnats, just where the dampness it's just stayed so damp here. I'd seen that down at Corey's, but I hadn't really seen it up here, and I thought maybe it was because she's so close to the creek, but it looks like it's just the ample rain that we've had. You can see some of our cabbage heading up there, looking good. Lots of bug damage, though, from the slugs and I think it's the roly-polies, actually, that's been eating on them. That's the only thing that could get in there to them. Unfortunately, it's just all the wet weather we had earlier, but I hope they'll still be a good harvest. But look at these beautiful zinnias, old maids here blooming. So my flowers I planted with abandon are doing pretty good, mostly zinnias. I had to go back and replant, and so that's mostly what I've got, which they're lovely, aren't they? Lovely. There's spots though where they're behind. Those are the ones I replanted. The gazinias are beautiful, but I wasn't thinking about how small they are. It's going to be a pretty one. And there's a little miniature sunflower. It's not come up yet, but it will. That was one of the odd ones that I planted. That's just one of them, looks like, come up. More zinnias. Look at this beautiful daylily. Isn't that a pretty color? So pretty. Love it. So in this little area, we pulled up everything we'd planted, wasn't doing any good, and replanted it. So you can see we've got there's some little pumpkins coming up back in the back. It looks like something I've planted. I can't remember what it was, though. I have to go back and watch my own video. And then these are, some dill and some basil. That's what that is now, I remember. And back here in the back, I did some flowers. You can see some flowers. There's the deal coming up. We did some little sugar pumpkins. And then we did 2 rows, which look really good, of peas, Mississippi pink eye peas. So that's what's growing right there. And then we have some kale growing. I need to eat some of that soon. We've been eating on it. Actually, since last fall, we've been eating on it. More zinnias I planted right here. And here's some more squash and zucchini we planted. It's coming along, doing good. And then down here we have the rest of our onions, more calendula and just some basil and more bush cucumbers that I planted. Carrots back there in the back. Doing so-so, not as good as they usually do for us or that they've done for the last few years. I was thinking that was carrots right here, but that's not. When I look at it, that's exciting. That's my dill. So I was thinking none of the dill I planted up here come up, but it did. So those back 2 rows are carrots. You can see some of them growing. And once Matt moved his lumber from right here, I planted a row of okra. You can see they're coming up. And then the rest of it, a couple of watermelon, and then some 2 winter squash. The watermelons are just coming up a little bit, not really as much as I planted. I guess they're taking their sweet time, but there's a few. Then I planted 2 watermelon, 1 in each corner of the raised bed here. I need to get these beets up too. Don't they look beautiful? That's the only beets we really grew this year. They're really pretty. There's just not many of them. Here's some more daylilies. Isn't that a beautiful color too? There's some yellow ones about to bloom. A lot of my wild phlox is in this bed and it's not blooming yet, but it will. Now I've kind of showed you everything I've got to work on. I don't know which end I'm going to start on, but I'm going to start on one or the other and just start weeding. And a lot of my mic stands. Well, you quitting for today?
Yeah, I'm chickening out for the rest of the day because the sun's about to get in here. It's already pretty warm and humid, and when the sun gets on here, it's going to be horrible. So, in order to be able to not be so tired tomorrow, I'm going to quit on this today and do this other side first thing in the morning. I believe we can do it in about the same amount of time and it'll be done, and the most dreaded part of this will be finished. So once I get that done and the ridge cap on, and everything else will be down here pretty much on the ground, and it'll go quicker.
Side looks
or it'll
good.
go easier anyway.
Yeah, it looks good what you got done.
It went a little faster than I thought it was going to.
Yeah.
Once I kind of got my feet under me. I ain't done that in a long time.
Got your Spider-Man feet back under you?
And well, sort of. I don't have that anymore. I could tell that today, but I was just glad to figure out that I could stay on it without sliding off. My shoes actually are pretty sticky and pretty good, so trying not to get overtired and over sore.
Yeah.
Trying to do it all in one day, so I'm gonna do the other half tomorrow.
It won't have to take you 2 or 3 days to recuperate.
Yeah, like my fishing trip the other day did. That's embarrassing, but that's a fact. I fished and waited for about 6 hours, and it took me about 3 days to get over. And I don't know if that's normal. I hope it is. I hope I ain't the only one. But
Well, it was really it wasn't that you were so tired, it was your foot. Your foot got irritated, whatever's wrong with
well, it
it.
didn't used to.
Well, I know. We're getting old.
I guess so. And roofing will make you older.
Thought you'd be celebrating. I thought you'd really be into it today since you got part of the roof on.
I'll be into it when it's all on.
It's looking good.
I bent part of it right there. I stepped on the rib and bent it, but it don't matter.
Nobody won't see that but the hawks that you've been calling to.
Yeah.
The crows. Maybe Binksy if he gets up there and can get up there.
Yep.
Feels good to have that part done.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm just glad to know that it's kind of rough, but it ain't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. So that's kind of
Relief.
I was worried about being able to stay on it and having a hard time standing up on it, but I believe I got it figured out now.
It's good. Getting there. We've had the 10, but we've just not had no weather that cooperated. And they could have kept working today, got the rest of it done, but Matt's trying to take it easy on his foot to make sure it don't start back up hurting like it was.
Try not to get overheated too, because that's just hard for me to deal with somehow or another. I have become wimpy.
Oh yeah, you ain't wimpy.
I ain't never been able to tolerate heat much, but I absolutely can't now. It's something's different. Age maybe, I don't know if that's it or whatever it is, but I just absolutely can't tolerate it like I used to could. And the good thing is I don't really have to.
That's the best, that's the blessing.
So that's
wonderful
why,
blessing.
That's why I decided just knock off and don't hurt myself today, and I'll be able to go again tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then once that's on, all the rest of this will be down here, putting the sides on it and stuff, and it's work, but it's not that kind of work.
Yeah, it'd be much easier.
Yep.
Even if you decide to do the little lean-tos, that won't be as bad as up there. So
No.
So yeah, it's coming together.
Yep.
Matt's foot that is hurting him, he thinks is arthritis. Is it like on the side of the foot, or where's it hurt?
It's on the very top of my right foot, and all those little bitty bones that go down to your toes, it's in those. So every time you step, you're flexing and moving those, and it's just
Painful.
it's just rough. Remember a few years ago, I had plantar fasciitis really bad. This ain't that bad, but it's still
Aggravating, hurting.
Yeah, it is. I mean, every time you move your foot, you feel it. Plantar fasciitis was really bad too, and I struggled with that for probably a year and a half before I had anything done. And if I'd have known what was to be done about it, I probably wouldn't have went. So that's a good thing.
Well, it did help. That was when we both still worked at the college. Matt got to where it just, every time even if he wasn't working, even in the house, just stood up, you could just see the pain in his face. And but when he finally went, if you've ever had it or know someone that has, they put shots in the bottom of your feet and your heels. And I went with Matt. It was painful to watch.
That was rough.
It was rough.
And I'm thinking too, shots in the bottom of your feet's bad enough because it's a tender place, but I just didn't have an understanding of that they buried the needle all the way to the plastic. I mean, they stuck the needle in
Long way, yeah.
all the way in, and then started pushing. I guess it was what was that, a steroid?
Or cortisone, I don't know.
It's pushing that stuff in there and moving
I
that
forgot.
needle around.
We knew back then, but I forgot.
And man, that was bad, because they did it right in my heels, and just stuck it in from the side of my foot, in the side of my heel, all the full depth of the needle in. And I just about couldn't sit there. It was so bad, and I've got a fairly high pain tolerance, I think. But that was bad. Mm-hmm. And they shot it with nitrogen, I think, just to fool you into making you think that, because it was super cold.
So that it wouldn't hurt as bad.
Yeah, but it just hurt bad and was cold too for me. Had 2 rounds of that.
They say that if you ever have that, oftentimes you'll have it again. But thank goodness, so far, Matt's never had it but that one time.
See, back then I was doing lots and lots of steps a day on concrete and pavement. I mean,
all over the campus. Sometimes Matt would walk how many miles in a day? Wasn't unusual.
I remember one time, I mean, they gave us phones, and on those phones were pedometers. So I set them things just to see. And now this wasn't typical, but one of the graduation days that we had, I did, I think, 14 miles on that. And a lot of those, in between that was a lot of working too, hard work, lifting and moving. But typically during a day, on a regular day, it would be 7 miles easy, and tens of thousands of steps.
Yeah,
So.
You think about a college campus all spread out, then it makes sense. I think now they have little side-by-sides or whatever.
I think they do.
Yeah, I think so, so that's good. And some of the same people that Matt worked with still there, so that's good for them. It cuts down on their walking, I'm sure.
Yep.
But yeah, that was painful for Matt. I felt so bad for him. That may be why you've never had it again, though. After you left the college, your job, you walked a lot, but it was different than walking just constantly on the concrete and the pavement.
Right. Now the job that I have, I mostly walk on dirt.
Yeah.
And I like that. Dirt or leaf litter in the woods. And that's what I like.
Yeah. Matt was afraid that he wouldn't be able to stay on the tin just because it's been so long since he's been on a roof. But he done fine. That's why you feel relieved, ain't it?
Yeah, that's it. I just was worried about, because my balance ain't as good and I'm stiff. Back when I used to do this, could climb all over it like a squirrel, but those days are over.
Daddy and Matt both had some near misses on the roof, though.
Mm-hmm.
And Daddy, looking back, he was in his 60s and he was on the roof.
Yeah, and he was, at that time, I mean, I kind of compare myself to him, and he done better in his 60s at that time than I'm doing now. So, he'd work you down in his 60s. And I would have been 28, 9, 30, around in there, and he
Matt was
give me all I wanted.
Yeah, Matt said, your daddy can work circles around me every day. Not just one day, but every day.
He was a hard worker. But he liked it. He liked to work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wasn't there one roof one time when y'all was working on it that you almost fell off of or something?
Me and him both did. We were rolling out felt before the shingles, rolling out felt on it. We would build it and felt it, and then we'd hire somebody to shingle it. And we was rolling the felt out, and the roll got away from him, started rolling, and turned and was going down the roof. And for some reason, he took off after it, running after it. And then he couldn't get stopped. And it was just all he could do. I was hollering, let it go, let it go. And he didn't want it to tear and the whole roll go off down in the woods and get, destroyed or ruined. And that's why he done it. But he almost didn't get stopped before he went off the end of the roof. And then on the same roof, we had one side of it papered, and it was a fairly steep roof. and I was on it, and the paper tore out from under my feet, and I fell. And I started sliding down the roof, and I wasn't going to be getting stopped. And I knew I wasn't going to stop. And I was sliding, and I reached in my, I always keep, I don't know if you can notice it on the videos or not, but for some reason I've always kept my hammer in the side of my bag as opposed to on a hammer loop behind me or wherever. I keep it with the handle sticking up where I can get to it. That's odd.
Yeah.
Most people don't do that, but I always have. I reached and got my hammer, and I always keep a straight claw hammer instead of a curved claw. I've always done that. Luckily, because if I'd had a curved hammer that day, I'd just went off the roof. But I got my hammer out and rolled over on my belly and drove the claws through the roof, through the plywood into the roof to stop myself before I went off. And I slid down pretty close to the edge, and I was going off because the subsequent rows of paper under me were tearing as I got to them, and I just couldn't stop.
God was watching over you that day.
Yep, me and him both.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, I'm glad you didn't.
I
On
hope-
this side, I mean, I wouldn't want you to fall, but on this side, you could kind of, if you started falling, you kind of jump onto the bank there, and maybe it wouldn't be so far. On that side.
That side over there would be bad.
Yeah, if you'd be worse. Yeah, for sure. Not as high as some of the houses you was working on.
No.
But still, no, nobody wants to fall. I mean, sometimes it's amazing how things like that happen. There can be somebody fall like 30 feet or something and get hurt a little bit, but not real bad, just where they can maybe break an arm or something like that and they get over it. But then sometimes somebody can fall 10 feet and it kills them. They hit the wrong way, hit their head or something, so it's always dangerous.
Your daddy fell, you remember, on the first or second step of a 6-foot step ladder and broke his leg. Or cracked his shin. You remember that?
Yeah, just his shin.
But that's as high as he was. But the thing folded up on him, and he fell, and his leg went between the frame of the ladder. And when he landed, the ladder scissored onto his legs, and it cracked his shin, and it hurt him.
Yeah.
I remember
He
that.
didn't never do nothing about it though. I mean, did he? I don't remember him doing nothing. It just got better, like healed on its own.
Yeah, but he had it X-rayed.
Yeah.
And that's
but
how
I mean,
they saw it was cracked.
I'm saying they didn't put a cast or anything
No, I mean,
on it.
there wasn't nothing to do for it.
Yeah, nothing to do. But yeah, sometimes just something you can, fall in your bathroom and break your ankle or something. And then sometimes fall off something and not get hurt. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
But got one side on and no falling, so don't fall tomorrow.
If I can get that side on and get down up there, I'm hoping that is the very last roof I ever have to fool with. Other than getting on ours to clean the chimney and stuff, but
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of it. I hope I never build another roof, in other words. Because I didn't do so hot on this one as far as square and making everything work out. I'm having to go back and try to catch up with my mistakes.
Having to pay for your, not your raising, some people say that, but pay in a different situation, but pay for your carelessness or whatever in the beginning.
Right. But it's worked out. It's covered and everything's covered and all that, and you can't tell that there's a little something wrong with it. And it don't matter because it's a shed.
Yeah, well, true, but nobody else wouldn't.
But it just bothers me because
because you built houses for so long. Yeah. Yeah. It'd be nice. Matt's saying today, Paul's teasing him about putting him his executive office out here or whatever he's talking about. But Matt said maybe he should just put his hammock out here and he could come hide in it.
Stretch a hammock between these poles and let the breeze blow and it'd be nice.
Yeah. It'd be nice right now. When you close it in, there may not be no breeze.
Probably won't.
Feels good though right now sitting in the shade. I got hot today. The summer heat has arrived for sure. And the humidity.
And that's another reason why I quit before I got real hot up there. And that way I won't be a little better tomorrow. And if we can get that other side done in that same amount of time, and I think we can, then we'll be beating the heat, in other words.
Yeah. Matt, at the end, though, he helped me finish, so I really did get all that weeded, this whole side up here. That was amazing. I just kept pecking away at it while they were working, and then Matt pushed me over over home plate. I got it done over the finish line.
Yeah.
So that's good. If you can stay on top of the weeds, they're much easier to deal with. We rarely ever do that.
Right.
Rarely. And of course it's hard to when it was, as much rain that was hindering Matt from the roof. It was the same thing in the gardens, and it's really been good for our plants, but it's also been good for all the weeds. So things were looking good though. Things are coming right along. I've been eating a few blackberries. Me and Ira, I won't have to worry about nobody eating them now. I mean, like forgetting to eat them, because you go out the door, he points at them. He wants to go straight to them and start eating. So we've pretty much been eating everyone. Everyone gets ripe, me and him eat it. I let him take a bite and I take a bite.
He likes them.
Oh, he loves it. Yeah, he loves it. But we don't have. I've got a cucumber. I think in a day or two we'll be able to eat it. It's about that big. Probably could already eat. I mean, you could already eat it, of course, but we're just trying to let it get a little bigger. And then a bunch of little ones, so they'll be coming on. I showed you those little beans. I don't think Matt's seen any of them. We got little beans, so that's exciting. Be eating some of them. We've still been eating squash and zucchini, and that's been good. And onions, of course, been eating them. We hadn't gravelled out any more new potatoes. We ate the ones we did in a video, and that's all. We hadn't got any more of them out.
I hope we got a bunch down there in the big garden.
I hope so. Yeah.
Tops look real good on them, but I don't know that it's not always.
Not always what's underneath.
Right.
And I'm worried about our cabbage. I'm tempted just to go ahead and pull it all up and see. There's a lot of heads in there. You can see about that big, so that's good. But it's just so much of I don't know if it was slugs or the roly-polies or what, because it just stayed so damp. Usually we don't have that problem at all, do we? Since we've been using the cover now. Other stuff, if we didn't use it, get in there and eat on it. But I know that's the only thing it could be. We'll be making kraut out of that soon, I hope, and maybe some canned coleslaw. And if they didn't do no good, then I'm just going to have to go buy cabbage. But they look pretty. I mean, if you can look past the bug damage and look down in there, there's some big heads.
I'd be in favor of doing canned coleslaw with all of it.
All of it?
Yeah.
Not no kraut?
Because that stuff, my
It
goodness.
is really good. We all like it. And it makes such easy for supper just to have something like a slaw or a salad or something as a side dish to go with maybe your meat and your potato and your bread. And most of the time we eat it straight out of the jar.
Yeah.
You can drain it and mix it with mayonnaise, and we tried that once or twice, and it's good too. But most of the time we just eat it straight out of the jar. Straight out of the jar. You can hear our deer alarms going off. The wind's blowing. I'm sure that's probably what it is. A little windy. But the gardens are all looking good, looking nice.
Need to get this thing roofed and get done with it too, because we got to get back down there and weed that little corn.
Yeah, we'll have to be back down there doing that.
One more time.
Okay,
And just turn it over to fate.
Yeah, then we'll be able to lay it by and just let it happen. Whatever happens, happen.
Yep.
We're supposed to have, I think, unless the weather changes, looks like maybe 5 or 6 days of just sunshine. Now that will really help everything.
Yep.
I mean, all the beans and the cucumbers and the tomatoes will start turning. We've got a lot of tomatoes, but none of them even remotely turning. We've got more Cherokee Purple. Down at the Randy Hooper's, I only seen 1 tomato. And then we've got lots of Tommy Toes in different places, so they're all looking good too. Peppers really hadn't. We've got a few. What have we got? We've got some jalapenos, and that's about it. So but it's not really time for them. They need that hot, dry weather.
They like it super hot and dry.
And our okra still just about that big, but again, it likes it hot and dry. So if we have this big week of, if it really does happen, to have a week of kind of drier, even if we have a few thunderstorms in the evening, just have mostly drier days, because it's been raining 2 or 3 times a day, hadn't it? So it will really make all of that stuff take off. Speaking of the rain, we've had several people ask us, because of the being outside and stuff, do we not have mosquitoes? That, you live in places that have such terrible mosquitoes, you can't even go outside. We're lucky here that we don't have mosquitoes. I mean, you might see them every once in a while, but you don't have them terribly.
Right. Except that right there around your hat.
Oh, is there one? Oh my goodness, that's so funny, isn't it?
Some kind of something like
Is
that.
it? Where'd it go?
It's right here.
Oh, yeah, that's not a mosquito. I thought it was gonna be one of the big ones. The ones we do have, though, that wasn't one of them, but the ones we do have are the little, and I don't even know if they're technically mosquitoes, but we call them mosquitoes, or little bitty black ones. Is that, you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? Now we have those, not terribly, but those, if I get bit by something, it's one of those.
Them great big ones, they don't bother you much anyway.
You don't think so? I
They
thought
don't
that was
me.
the ones that bite people mostly.
The ones that bites me is them little bitty ones.
The little black ones.
And
I don't even know if they're technically a mosquito or not.
it's almost never right here. Now I don't know if it's mosquitoes. I couldn't see good enough when we was fishing the other day. It may have just been gnats. Now we got to eat up with them things on the creek the other day. But
Yeah.
you know, being outside here around home, I've never been bothered much by mosquitoes at all.
Now I'm watching this one to see what it is. I can't tell what that is. It's more of like not a sweat bee, but something like that. Yeah, anyway, we've been lucky or fortunate to live in a place that we don't have many mosquitoes. People ask us about the mosquitoes and about ticks. There are ticks here, but again, we don't seem to get many on us. We do sometimes, but not, it's not like they're just everywhere. What else? What other kind of bugs? I guess the ticks and the mosquitoes is what people ask us about. Oh, I was thinking about something, what I was going to say. The bug that bites me the most is the chiggers. That's what I fight with, is the chiggers. And you can't even see them, so can't even see them.
And they don't bother me at all.
They don't bother me at all, and I'll just be totally eat up. Looks like I've got the measles or something. And I just pretty much stay like that all summer. Now, it really does help me if I spray, and I did today, if I can remember, make myself do it. If I spray some, I've got some like all natural bug spray kind of stuff. Smells real citronelly. That's what it smells like. And I spray around my ankles because they crawl up. That's what they do. You don't really notice them. You don't see them and you don't feel them, but they're crawling up your legs and going to all your places and biting you. So that really helps. You'll hear old stories and people say that their parents or their grandparents or whoever would like tie rags of kerosene or something dipped in sulfur around their ankles, and that prevented, the chiggers. Especially for me, just walking in the yard, I will get them. But especially going berry picking, a lot of people, that's when they have their nightmare chigger episode, is if they went berry picking. And I've heard a few people say they got them so bad and had like a reaction that they actually had to go to the doctor. Now, I've never had them like that. Mine's just annoying because they itch. They itch like crazy. When we were little, the cure was always to put fingernail polish over top of them. And Granny, I don't know, it's just like an old wives' tale, I guess you'd say. That will smother them and they'll die and then they won't itch no more. So I don't know. Miss Cindy, Matt's mama, she'd tell me that she got them real bad when she was a girl. She'd get outside playing and get chiggers, and she said hers were really painful and bad. She kind of had sensitive skin. And so she said then after they found that out, like if she'd been playing outside, they made her take a bath and they put salt in it. And that was supposed to draw them out or whatever, like a salty bath. I mostly just live with mine. Right now I've got one itching right there on the top of my leg and one there on the back of my back. So they just go everywhere on me. And it is interesting that they don't bother me at all.
It could take you and have you dipped.
Yeah.
Like they used to do
like
the
they
old
used to do
hunting
the
dogs.
hunting dogs
Yeah.
and have me dipped.
Yeah.
Chiggers don't bother you, and bees don't bother me.
The only thing bothers me is bees.
I know, and they don't bother me.
And I don't know what it is, but all I gotta do is open the door and step outside, and then they've got
They dive bomb your head.
some kind of sensory or something going on with them, and then here they come.
Yeah.
And they literally bounce off the side of my head,
Oh
don't
yeah,
they?
multiple times, yeah.
I don't know what makes me mad.
Yeah.
So I'm usually in the war with the bees.
Yeah, you're like a miller trying to get to the porch light.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, except you're the porch light and
Yeah.
the millers are the bees.
Yeah.
They're trying to get to Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I'm about ready for dinner. Are you?
I'm starving to death.
You've come unfed, and I'm ready for my daily dose of watermelon. I didn't get no watermelon yesterday. I'm behind. Actually, that's not true. I ate some last night. I didn't eat it during the day. I was just thinking, I'm telling another story. I ate some last night.
I ain't eaten 2 days. I gotta eat something.
You have. I seen you eating this morning.
I ain't eat much.
I seen you eating a lot yesterday.
I didn't eat much yesterday.
Yes, you did. I've watched you.
I just ate one time yesterday.
Oh, you ate a lot, though.
Yeah.
Me and Matt done something very unusual for us. We actually went out to eat.
Right in the middle of the day.
Right in the middle of the day, which is almost just totally unheard of for us.
Bizarre.
We hardly ever go out to eat, but if we did, it sure wouldn't be in the middle of the day, but we did.
We were already out, so we decided why not.
It was rather enjoyable.
It was.
We had Chinese. It was good.
Mm-hmm.
It was good. We both ate so much, then we didn't need to come home and cook supper, so that's why we didn't cook supper, and that's why I had my watermelon at night instead of during the day like usual. Well, let me go make you something. Make you a sandwich.
Yeah.
We're always glad when you stop by to help us celebrate Appalachia, and if you just keep coming by, eventually Matt'll get his shed built.
By the time I get totally done, I'll have a beard that's white and about that long and have 2 canes.
And we may be the oldest YouTubers by the time we get it built.
Yeah.